So last night I checked out the new Hulu original film Palm Springs. This is a time loop rom-com starring Andy Samberg and the mother from How I Met Your Mother and J.K. Simmons. And this movie was not on my radar at all until very late in last week when my buddy Griffin from my podcast heavily recommended the film, and then all weekend people were telling me, you got to check out this film and we'd love for you to review it. Hence, here is my quick review right now. If you've seen this one, go ahead and tell me what you thought down below in the comment section. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you somewhere in between? Was this just one of the most pleasant surprises for you? I would love to hear your take on it. With that said, let's get started talking about the good. And probably the best thing about this film is just the chemistry between our main cast here. Our two leads, just immediately you can kind of get the vibes between them, their timing, the way even they do dance numbers together, all of it works and you like them, you're rooting for them right from the beginning of the film. And then the whole film is just filled with a great supporting cast. I mean, the movie's dominated by these two leads, but then you have J.K. Simmons showing up as this other person stuck in the mix that every scene he's in, he is amazing. You have the guy that plays Superman, Tyler Hoechlin, on Supergirl, and I guess he's getting his own Superman show. He's someone in the mix. I mean, all these different kind of faces show up throughout it that you've seen in other places. Beyond that, I always enjoy time loop films, and this one, they found a way once again to find a new angle on a fairly familiar genre. I mean, anytime you start talking about time loop films, people immediately start talking about Groundhog Day. This movie has a few references to it, certain similarities and certain things that people think about at certain points in time, but it finds an entirely new angle to tackle all of it. Even the perspective under which the story takes place is a little bit interesting in that the way these normally start is we're following the perspective of someone that has no idea what's going on and they get caught in the loop. That's not really the way this one plays out. It stacks things differently. Even in the storytelling, it shows things from different perspectives in the same day from each of the different people. It's a really nice way to do things, to find a new direction to take this type of story. And then beyond that, it's a movie that kind of has a lot more oomph to it emotionally than I was expecting going into it. Normally with rom-coms, you know kind of the journey that you're on, but this one uses withholding information really well. You go through the story and you're about 50-60% of the way through the story, kind of seeing the progression in one way, and then it very wisely starts to reveal certain pieces of information to you in a way that reframes what you've been seeing, why certain things are happening in a very effective way. I was watching this one with my wife, and when one piece of information is revealed, she's like, and like totally reinterpreted everything thus far. And then the movie very smartly finds a way to kind of build back from that. I mean, kind of the template of rom-coms you always have to have at some point in time, you bring the two people together and find a way to pull them apart. That's the template. This movie, in a certain sense, follows that, but it does it in a way that feels earned. It makes sense. And it develops the characters rather than bringing attention to the template itself. And then, of course, as a comedy, there are some nice laughs in the mix. Certain parts I just full on laughed out loud. It plays, once again, with this time loop concept in some interesting ways that just allow it to do some pretty absurdist stuff that goes pretty wild, especially with the J.K. Simmons character and his relationship to the Andy Samberg character that was a very pleasant surprise as I was watching it. From there, let's move on to the bad. And just a couple of things here. The first one is that it's kind of a raunchy rated R comedy. Right out of the gate, it kind of kicks into some sex stuff in the opening scene that doesn't really represent the movie well. And a lot of times what you want to do at the beginning of your film is set the rules, set the tone, what you should expect for the film. And this one like starts off on some of his raunchiest stuff, and that's not my wife and I's favorite thing. And so it kind of started us not in the best direction. Like literally my wife said, this is the movie that Griffin thought we would really enjoy. And then, we turned out to really enjoy it. But more importantly, I just don't know that as raunchy as it got, helped the movie, because the movie itself was funny, sincere, clever, witty, worked without needing to have raunchy sex jokes sprinkled every 10 or 15 minutes into the story. And also on the comedy, it wasn't quite as consistently funny as I'd hoped. And maybe it would have played differently if I saw it with a crowd. Comedy's contagious, and so watching it at home isn't quite the same thing as watching it in a theater. But it wasn't as laugh out loud funny as maybe it should have been. It worked better on the rom-com quirky side to it than laugh out loud funny side. But in general, this was just a very pleasant surprise. If you've seen this one, be sure to tell me what you thought down below in the comment section. Did you also have a great time with it? Was it also a pleasant surprise for you, or was it did not live up to the Twitter hype that it's been getting over the weekend? In general, for me, I went into this movie having known very little about it. My wife didn't even know that it was a time loop movie, and it was quite the pleasant surprise. And it's actually, right now, it's in my top 10 movies of the year. For me, overall, I would score this one, let's go A- on it on the entertainment scale. Let's go on an 8 out of 10. And if you like rom-coms, time loop movies, definitely check this one out. If you've enjoyed this review, I've got more like it just right over there in my playlist with all of my 2020 movie reviews. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies too much.